So in this video, we'll just unbox and have a closer look at this Roku streaming stick 4K, which of course can handle 4K HDR and Dolby Vision as well. I've never tried a Roku device and it's not officially supported in my country yet. So I'm kind of curious to try it out and see how many of these services that actually works here in Scandinavia, where I am from. I suspect most of them won't work, but yeah, we'll try that out in this video here. And like I said, I've wanted to try a Roku streaming stick or a Roku device for quite some time now, for many years actually. Back in the days, Roku was like one of the better platforms to run Plex media server on. This was before the newer generation of streaming devices such as Apple TV with the ability to install apps, or Google or Android TV, excuse me, as well. That didn't really exist back then. So this was the only device that actually supported Plex, and I believe some LG TVs, but it was removed in the LG TV I had back then. But anyways, I don't really use Plex anymore, so I don't really have the big reason to get one of these. I had the big reason to get one of these the later few years here, but recently it started officially shipping to Germany and other parts of Europe, so I think maybe it will come to Scandinavia at some point, and it doesn't really cost all that much. And yeah, I got it on a great sale here. Actually had it for a few months lying around here before I had the time now to take a look at it. But anyways, of course, this purple color here is very reminiscent of Roku. They have the like black and purple color scheme. Let's have a look around the box here. It does support Apple AirPlay, so this is also kind of a nice way to get AirPlay if you have Apple devices, of course, and support Apple HomeKit and Google as well. And this one is wireless connection only. I believe there is not ability or not able to connect a wire to this one, at least not a LAN connection, of course. So you only have a Wi-Fi connection, but of course you do have HDMI out. And let's just have a look at the other side of the box here. And you see a lot of this information here is in German, because I did buy this off Amazon in Germany. So like I said, not officially in my country yet. I live in Denmark. So what you need is internet connection, VLAN router, and I believe a TV that can handle HDCP 2.2 for 4K resolution. Nothing really here in the bottom of the case. So let's have a look at the back, and we'll have a little bit more information about the device. Of course, we have the remote here. This one is able to control the TV. There is also some cheaper ones. I believe they're called Express. Roku Express, I did order those. Actually, before I ordered this one here, those was also on sale and very inexpensively, but they never arrived. So I ended up just going for this one here. But it does support Dolby Vision and HDR10 and HDR10 Plus, 4K 1080p and 720p at 60 FPS. And this one is also one of the faster ones of these smaller devices here. So it has a quad-core processor and Wi-Fi A or AC MIMO. So it does have Wi-Fi 5, which should be plentiful. Let's just get into this box here and have a closer look. And now we're inside, or remove the outer lid. We have a little more Roku streaming stick branding there. And right here we have the streaming stick nicely presented in the top. It is a fairly long device, but it is relatively skinny, so it doesn't really take up that much space. But I'm a little concerned that if I can actually have it on my TV, I plan to mount it on the side HDMI of my Sony TV. So I hope this one can fit there. Of course, you can always use a little HDMI extender cable. I don't know if it comes in the box, but we'll just have a closer look at what else we get here. Let's get you streaming. Let's get, okay. Yeah, let's just see what we get here in the little template here. So a quick start instruction guide, I believe it's in German. It's actually also in English, but this will of course get you quickly up and running. You really only need to plug it in. It's very important though that you use the supply cable that comes with this one here, because it does have the Wi-Fi antenna built into the cable, which is a little unfortunate because you cannot really use any other cable. So you need to have this long ass cable there plugged in. And you have a little bit of common questions here on the back side. And of course you can see here the way it is routed on the back. So they recommend that you leave it hanging from the Roku stick to get the best reception. Don't really cramp it in there. So like I said, I plan to use it on the HDMI port that is on the side of my TV, which is kind of recessed inside the TV, and there's a little lid on top of it as well. So I'm kind of curious to see if I can actually squeeze it in there. Other than that, we also get a few Roku stickers here. So one says Roku. I don't know if you can actually see those stickers, but yeah, one says just Roku, and the other one says I love Roku or I heart Roku. So yeah, you can stick them to your car or wherever you want to stick those, of course. And a little bit of a safety information as well. Of course, nobody will ever read those, so don't really know why they include it. And else in the box here, of course, this is for the European market. So we get the power supply here with 2 different plugs. And we're looking at a 1.5 amp, 7.5 watt power supply. And this is, of course, just a 5 volt power supply, Roku branded here, with a USB-A here and a plug in one end. Of course, for plugging in your USB cable, and the other end here, of course, you should connect whatever kind of plug you use. We have the UK plug in this package here, and we also have the European plug, which is what we use here in my country. And yeah, you mount them the same way, so just make sure it's lined up here, and I believe just squeeze it in like so until you hear a little click. So that's pretty easy. Next off, of course, we have the remote here, which yeah, feels kind of nice actually. The rounded edges, and it's also fairly thick, so you can get a nice good grip on it. And this one has the volume rockers, which like the Express models doesn't have. So you can control the volume of the TV and of course mute it and unmute it, but it doesn't have the headphone jack. I believe some of the more high-end models does have a headphone jack. So you can of course plug in a headphone or set of headphones, and you can listen to the movie or music or whatever you are playing on your Roku through your headphones, which is kind of a nice little touch. I don't believe it has Bluetooth, so you cannot connect a Bluetooth pair of headphones, so that's a little unfortunate. But yeah, for me personally, it's just to test it out and just to keep up to date with the latest and greatest and follow the development of Roku here in Europe and see whenever the different streaming services will become available. We can see here on the buttons on the Roku streaming stick, we do have Netflix, Apple TV+, Rakuten TV, and it also has Spotify, as well as play, pause, back, forward, and also a voice activation button there, so you can control it using your voice, and home and back, and of course power button and a little microphone hole here in the top. And we have the little flap there. I've seen those on all of the Roku remotes I've seen online. And of course here you just plug in your battery, which is also included. We actually get dual cell batteries included here, which is kind of a nice quality batteries. Let's just plug them in. So a little bit different here on the Roku remote. Both batteries, plus or positive side, is the same direction. So you kind of see down here in the battery compartment, you have the spring on the lower side here or in the end of the remote, and you just plug in the batteries in the same orientation of both of them, which is a little bit different. I believe it's the first time I've seen this in a remote. What you see there's a little blinking LED. I guess that's for pairing it up to a Roku streaming stick, and a little button here as well, probably also for syncing or pairing. And then of course just plug in the little lid here again. Probably need to take it off to pair it, but anyways, let's just have a look what else we get in the box. We do get this micro USB to full size USB behind this little Velcro here. So we can actually, of course, use the included power brick here. Just plug it in like so, or you can use whatever kind of USB power brick or power supply that supplies at least 1.5 amp and of course 5 volt. So micro USB, again, would have been nice to see USB Type-C, but in a device like this, I don't really care. It's not like you are unplugging and replugging it frequently, at least I do not plan to do so. And on the cable itself, like I talked about before, we also have the antenna for the Wi-Fi, which is a kind of a nice design because you just get a little bit better, hopefully, range by including the Wi-Fi antenna here, so you don't have to include it in the stick itself. Also makes the stick a little bit smaller, but also just removes it a little further away. So hopefully you can get a little bit better reception, but On the other hand, you can only really use this specific cable here with your Roku streaming stick, and I don't believe there's any way to hook it up with a wired connection. So you cannot use like a adapter like you can on some Google devices to a wired adapter or a LAN adapter. This one is only wireless and only with the proprietary cable here, even though it uses a standard micro USB plug. So a little unfortunate, but for me, I don't really care. But that's all we get in the box here. Yeah, nothing else in here. Let's just get rid of this one. And let's actually just plug it in. And of course, the streaming stick itself here. We do have a little bit of information here on the bottom. I've just covered my serial number. Assembled in China and so on. HDMI logo there. We do have a full-size HDMI male plug. And it is just a standard silver plug, not a gold-plated or anything like that. But other than that, it feels very sturdy. And we of course have the micro USB plug here in the end for plugging it in. And let's just do that right now. And there's also a little LED here and also a button up here for reset. So you can see after a few seconds, it's just permanently lighting white, and now it starts blinking white, looking for a remote or anything, something like that. But anyway, I've just found my Atomos Ninja 5 here. Let's plug it in. Okay, so I have just paired the remote. I haven't really done anything other than just removing the lid. And the little light was flashing, and after a few seconds it just said pairing remote. And it took quite a long time actually. And I cannot really record this for some reason. I guess it's copy protected. So let's just go through the setup process here on the little screen. And let's just select English. So looking for wireless network. And it seemed to only really register my 2.4 GHz LAN, which is a little unfortunate. But anyway, it should be fine enough for streaming. Let me just type in my password. So typed in my password and it is currently checking the Wi-Fi connection. I think it's a little bit disappointing that it doesn't support 5 GHz. When you think about the extra little chunky boy here you have to connect, like the antenna here, and it doesn't still connect to 2.5 GHz LAN. But anyways, there's a firmware update, surprise, surprise. Let's just install that. Okay, let's just auto detect display type. So yeah, it's able to connect to 4K 60 FPS, which this display does support, but it doesn't support HDCP, I believe, because this is just a recorder, and it doesn't really need to record any copy protected devices. Okay, it takes forever. Let's just press OK and get on with it. And now we can actually record the screen. Okay, you can control, of course, the TV, turn it on and off with the remote. And log into Roku, of course. So type in your email for your Roku account, which is what I'm going to do right now. So you get an email once you log in, and you need to go in and verify and just agree to all of the conditions. And then you're also taken through some of the channels, which is what Roku calls app, that you can of course add to a device. I won't really install anything right now. Let's just hit continue here. And I am done. All done. And let's just see what kind of channels we have installed. So it comes with Netflix, Apple TV, Plex, Blue Media, CNET, YouTube, Red Bull, BBC, TED, Haystack News. But I'm kind of curious to see what kind of channels we can install on this one here in my region of the world, because it is regional locked for some reason. Why manufacturers are regional logging the devices, I don't really understand, because I am paying for the service, so why not be able to stream it from whatever kind of device I would like to stream it from. But you can see it is definitely very limited. There is no Disney Plus of my knowledge, and HBO Max is not available in my country on this device, and yeah, a lot of the other streaming services is not available either. But you have Spotify, Netflix, CNET. Let's go see some of the top 3 ones here. We also have YouTube, and yeah, all kind of other apps here or channels that I'm not really totally aware of. I do of course know Red Bull, but yeah, most of these I'm not really that familiar with. So yeah, still a lot of limitations if you live outside US or Germany. As of this moment here, let's just go into settings. Let's go into remote devices here. You can set up, of course, your remote themes, different kind of themes, wallpapers, and so on. A lot of different themes you can download here, or wallpapers, screensavers as well. Of course, set up your display type, double vision, HDR, resolutions, captions. Of course, if you prefer it or prefer it off, you can set it here. Audio, menu volume, preferred language, streaming audio format, and so on and so on. Home screen, shortcuts. And of course you can set up AirPlay here as well. And HomeKit. If you want to use this, I don't know if you can use it as your HomeKit device. Supposedly you could do so. But at least you can use it with AirPlay, which is kind of nice. And yeah, HomeKit as well. Again, kind of a nice feature. I don't believe there is any other than Apple devices where you can actually use it as a AirPlay device or HomeKit. Some TVs do have AirPlay built in, but in terms of streaming boxes from Android or other manufacturers, I believe Roku is the only one that actually supports AirPlay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Legal notice, privacy system. You can of course set your time. I do use 24-hour format here, so I will enable that. And what kind of regional at the time is fine. Control other devices. You can of course control your TV. You can set languages, but we already did that. Not that many to choose from really. Screen mirroring, system update. We already have the latest one installed, so we're up to date. Okay, power off and system restart. Advanced system settings and third-party licenses. So pretty easy to use, of course. If you want to open up Netflix, press Netflix on your remote and it will start up the application right away here. Okay, giving me an error. Let's try again. I'm not really sure if it will work, but you can at least install the app. Okay, of course, because I have it connected to a recording device here. Doesn't support HDCP. You need a HDCP capable TV or monitor. So yeah, this has just been a first look and unboxing of the Roku streaming stick 4K. Actually, just setting it up, it does get quite warm to the touch. The antenna also a little bit warm, but the streaming stick definitely does get a little bit warm. Not so warm that I'm kind of concerned, but yeah, definitely get warm to the touch. So I'm curious to try this one out here and yeah, also just keep up to date with the latest and greatest from Roku here in my region of the world. Hopefully more and more streaming services will be available for this device here going forward. Because yeah, I kind of like having multiple different systems. I get a little bit bored when I'm on my Apple TV or Android TV. It would be nice to switch it out from time to time with a third supplier as well. That's definitely what I plan to do with this. I hope to do with this one here. You get them very inexpensively. I'm not really sure I would recommend it over other devices. Of course, it may depend on your region of the world. If you are happy with all the streaming services of a device like this in your region, definitely go pick it up. But if you need to be able to connect a wireless Bluetooth set of headphones, this is not a device for you. Unfortunately, that would have been a nice feature to have. Maybe just be able to connect it to the remote. I believe there is also an app, but that's not available in my region of the world as well, where you can actually also stream audio. Again, it's not officially available here in Scandinavia as of yet. The closest we have got is to get this in Germany. But that's pretty much it for this video. This was just a first look and unboxing of this device here. Of course, I will share some affiliate link down in the description below. Else, I hope to see you again in a future video. Until then, take care.